Everyone, welcome to our shared reading. Today we're going to read a book called Many Kinds of Matter, a look at solids, liquids, and gases. Now, the cool thing about reading nonfiction books are that sometimes you don't have to read the entire book, especially if it's really long, and you're trying to find out specific information that you want to learn. So here, if I look at the table of contents, I see matter, solids, liquids, gases. I know what all those are. But what I want to learn more about is the changes that matter can have. So I'm going to start reading on page 18. And that's what you're going to do today too when you have to read on your own. We're going to go past it. We're going to go to page 18. Okay? And so here it says matter and changes, and there's my heading, so I know what I'm going to be learning about. So on each page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip a word, and I want you to try to figure it out. Ready? My turn. Matter can change from one kind to another. Some solids can change to liquids. Some liquids can change to gases. The liquid in this cup is, to a gas. What would make sense right there? Let's look at the chunks. CH, ch, ing, ing. The liquid in this cup is anging to a gas. That doesn't make sense. Flip the A and say A. See if you can figure it out. Did you say changing? If you did, you're right. Now, echo this with me. Ready? Go. Matter and changes. Matter can change from one kind to another. Some solids can change to liquids. Some liquids can change to gases. The liquid in this cup is changing to a gas. So before you just keep on reading, stop and think. Look at the picture. What is it showing you? Right? You could have a pan of water and it's evaporating into a gas. My turn. Water is a special kind of matter. That water is a liquid. All right, what word might that be? You canal. That water is a liquid. Does that make sense? Look at this. This is our special ghost pair, KN. Remember, you don't hear the sound in K. So it would be now. You now that water is not liquid? No. Flip that O. You know that water is a liquid. But it can easily be found in all three forms on our planet. Reread with me. Ready? Go. Water is a special kind of matter. You know that water is a liquid, but it can easily be found in all three forms on our planet. Don't just turn the page. Let's think about it. Let's look at these pictures. Where's the water a solid? Right here. It's ice. Where's it a liquid? Right here, look, it's flowing and changing shape. And here, it's a gas. It's going up into the air and evaporating. My turn. Water becomes a solid if it is cooled. It turns into ice. Water turns into ice when it freezes. Water freezes when it a temperature of 32 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, what would make sense there? Water freezes when it, look at the chunk, CH, EA, two balls go walking, so that E is going to say E. And look, it ends in a CH, so they added an ES. Reach is, reaches. Read that with me. Ready? Go. Water becomes a solid if it is cooled. It turns into ice. Water turns into ice when it freezes. Water freezes when it reaches a temperature of 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's super important that this ice reaches way colder than 32 degrees Fahrenheit, because if it doesn't, what would happen with your weight on the ice? You could fall in, right? And there's liquid underneath here. You could freeze. All right, let's try this next page. Water becomes a gas if it is heated. It turns into steam. Water turns into steam when it... Ooh, let's get stuck on this one. What might this be? Let's look at the picture clue. Let's look for our chunks. I see OI. That's on our spelling this week. Oi. Oils. Did you say boils? Good. Water boils when it reaches a temperature of 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or 100 degrees Celsius. Read that with me and then we'll think. Ready? Go. Water becomes a gas if it is heated. It turns into steam. Water turns into steam when it boils. Water boils when it reaches a temperature of 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, before we turn, what is something new you learned? You knew that water turns into steam. We've talked about that before. You know about water boiling. It gets really hot. A new fact might be that water boils when it reaches 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why it's super important to not be around a hot pan when your parents are cooking, because if that water gets onto you, you would have to go to the hospital, because 212 degrees Fahrenheit is very hot and it would burn you. Okay, my turn again. Water at any temperature can change into water. Ooh, let's get stuck on this one. Look, I see an or in there. Vapor. Water at any temperature can change into water vapor. That doesn't make sense. Let's flip this A. Vapor. Vapor. Water vapor. Water vapor is a gas. This change is called evaporation. Say that with me. Evaporation. That's when the water is going up and turning into a gas. It's evaporating. My turn. Some people use a drying rack after washing their dishes. The dishes dry after the water evaporates. So, show me a connection if you leave your dishes out to dry. Yeah, if there was no evaporation, you'd have drips on your plate still, but it evaporates into the air. Let's read that together. Ready? Begin. Water at any temperature can change into water vapor. Water vapor is a gas. This change is called evaporation. Some people use a drying rack after washing their dishes. The dishes dry after the water evaporates. Next page. Water vapor changes back into liquid water when it cools in the air. This change is called... Ooh, let's get stuck on this one. Look, I see a little word and a big word. Here's den. Here's conden. And here's tion. That's a chunk that says shun. So condensation. Condensation. Say that with me. Condensation. This change is called condensation. You can see condensation after a hot shower. The water vapor touches the shower door and turns back into liquid. Have you ever seen condensation on a shower door? So if you take a hot shower, or your parents take a hot shower, and you go in there, the mirror might even have water droplets coming down. Or if you've been on a bus and the bus driver turns the heat on and it's cold outside, you might see your windows kind of fog up and you can write on the windows. My mom used to hate when I did that. And the water droplets that you're writing on are condensation. My turn. Other matter can change forms too. Cheese is a solid. It melts when it gets hot. It changes to a liquid. Bread in melted cheese is a tasty treat. Okay, what would make sense there? Let's look at the picture. Bread in melted cheese is a tasty treat. Let's stretch it out. Dipped, dipped. Read it with me. Ready? Begin. Other matter can change forms too. Cheese is a salad. It melts when it gets hot. It changes to a liquid. Bread dipped in melted cheese is a tasty treat. Now let's stop and think. Have you ever had that? It's called fondue. And there's a bunch of fancy restaurants that serve fondue. There's either cheese fondue or there's chocolate fondue. And what it is it's changing from a solid to a liquid. So the cheese, think about a block of cheese, right? It's a solid. But when you heat it up, it changes into a liquid. Or chocolate. You have a chocolate bar, like a Hershey's chocolate bar that you break off and you eat a square. But if you were to heat it up, it would turn more liquid and you can dip it in. My turn. Juice is a liquid. It
freeze
when it gets cold. Okay, so it kind of gave it away. Remember, when you click it, it will give you a clue. But I see freeze is freezes. It changes to a solid. Ice pops can be made by freezing juice. And look at this word right here, freezing. Remember it had an E for freeze, but when you add an ing, you take off that E. Let's read it together. Ready? Go. Juice is a liquid. It freezes when it gets cold. It changes to a solid. Ice pops can be made by freezing juice. Do you have a connection to that? Did any of you guys make popsicles? All you have to do is take some juice and put them in a tray. You could even use an ice cube tray. And once it reaches that temperature of freezing, it changes from that liquid juice to a solid popsicle. My turn. Dry ice is a solid. Dry ice is frozen. Let's look for chunks. Car, that's a little word. Carbon. Use your prior knowledge. What might make sense there? Carbon, two vowels go walking. Ox. Up, look at that super E makes that I say I. Carbon dioxide. It changes back into a gas as it warms up. Dry ice gives off mist as it changes to a gas. Many people use it in Halloween. What would make sense here? Decorations. Decorations? Halloween decorations? What makes sense there? Decorations. But it can be dangerous and must be used carefully. Let's reread together. Ready? Begin. Dry ice is a solid. Dry ice is frozen carbon dioxide. It changes back into a gas as it warms up. Dry ice gives off mist as it changes to a gas. Many people use it in Halloween decorations, but it can be dangerous and must be used carefully. So, I just had a delivery to my house yesterday, and it was of chicken, and it came from far away. So they packed the cooler with the chicken and dry ice, because dry ice is super cold, and it said on there, warning, do not touch the dry ice. So you might have seen dry ice before. All right, I believe this is our last page, my turn. We use solids, liquids, and gases every day. They are an part of our lives and our planet. So I skipped, I'm going to come back. Let's look for clues. I see an or. Important. They are an important part. Let's reread together. Ready, begin. We use solids, liquids, and gases every day. They are an important part of our lives and our planet. And here it gives you making something tasty. But what I want you to do is I want you to find this book in your mailbox under Read by myself. And you're going to start at page 18. And I want you to read this to a parent until you get to page 27. So it's not many pages at all, and we practice together. All right, have fun.